Welcome back to the Rafe Rundown, a political commentary show that covers American politics and world events. Now, today, we're going to be talking about the constitutional amendment that was introduced by Representative Andy Ogles that would allow President Donald Trump to run again in the 2028 presidential election. The resolution to amend the Constitution of the United States was introduced on January 23rd by Congressman Andy Ogles IV, a two-term Republican representing Tennessee's 5th Congressional District. Many Democrats and Republicans alike have shut down the idea, saying that it would allow people like former President Obama to run again. And most people believe that given the opportunity for Barack Obama to run for office again, he most likely would do so. But not so fast to those Democrats and Republicans. We must examine the verbiage of the bill specifically to see exactly how this would apply here. And if we take a deeper look at this, we can see that it's written to only allow Donald Trump to run for office again. Here's the exact excerpt from the proposal. Quote, "No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than 3 times, nor be elected to any additional terms after being elected to 2 consecutive terms, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice." So in short, the only way that you're able to run again is if you served 2 non-consecutive terms, is the only way that you're allowed to run for 3, but not more. But if you served less than 2 of a second term, then you can run for a 3rd term. And Congressman Ogles had added that President Trump's decisive leadership stands in a stark contrast to the chaos, the suffering, and the economic decline that Americans have endured over the past 4 years. He has proven himself to be the only figure in modern history capable of reversing our nation's decay and restoring America to greatness. And he must be given the time necessary to accomplish that goal. To that end, I am proposing an amendment to the Constitution to revise the limitations imposed by the 22nd Amendment on presidential terms. This amendment would allow President Trump to serve 3 terms, ensure that we can sustain the bold leadership our nation so desperately needs. Now, although some Republicans, including really Trump himself, because let's not lie about this, we know that Trump loves to hear this. He loves to hear that he can stay in power for as long as he wants. And now, as much of an idea that is that he loves, maybe that isn't the best. Most polls have shown that people would prefer Trump pass on the baton to the next generation of leaders. And let's just take a look back on the 2024 election. When Trump announced that he would be seeking the 2024 GOP nomination, many Democrats had believed that they had just been handed the 2024 election on a silver platter. They thought it was over. We can run somebody as dumb as Joe Biden or as stupid as Kamala Harris, and we're going to win regardless. And especially considering everything that has happened. Now, especially considering the electoral damage that people like Ron DeSantis did in the state of Florida, I can kind of understand where they were coming from. Now, let's take a look at what Governor DeSantis did. In 2018, Governor DeSantis won the election in Florida, the gubernatorial election, by less than 35,000 votes in an election that saw over 8 million voters cast a ballot. Fast forward to 2020. President Trump won the state, although he didn't win the election. He won the state of Florida by over 350,000 votes, over a 4-point margin. That's a pretty good improvement, I would say. Now, take a look at the 2022 gubernatorial race in Florida. Now, I'll give you a little reminder that in 2020, the midterms occurred, where the Republicans were supposed to bring this red wave that was going to sweep across the whole country. But we're going to emphasize on the supposed to, because that wave really never showed up nationally. But it did show up in the state of Florida, where Governor DeSantis easily won re-election over former Republican Governor Charlie Crist by 1.5 million votes. So when you have someone like Ron DeSantis, who goes into a purple state like Florida that's been purple for decades, win by 35,000 votes, and his conservative principles and his persona were allowed the GOP to take over Florida as a GOP stronghold and win the next gubernatorial election by 1.5 million votes. Now, although most Democrats were more worried about DeSantis than Trump in 2023 exactly for these issues. After what happened on January 6th, many Democrats thought it was over for Trump, and looking at someone like DeSantis that turned a 35,000 vote margin into a 1.5 million vote margin in a purple state, I'd be a little scared too. They truly believe that Trump would have allowed a full takeover by the Democrat of all three branches of, both chambers of Congress in the executive branch. They really believe that if Trump ran, they would take the presidency, keep it, take back the House, and keep the Senate. And boy, were they out of touch with reality. The party that chose to renominate Trump ended up delivering a GOP popular vote win the first time in over 2 decades. They were able to retain the House of Representatives and win back the United States Senate. And I think that this will mean over the next 4 years of the Trump presidency, there's going to be a consistent effort to allow Trump to have power in some form or another, like we can see right here from Andy Ogles. We should point out that although Trump won the 2024 election and continues to raise millions of dollars, like, take a look at this, out from Axios, Trump's $500 million post-election windfall. He has not stopped raising money. President-elect Trump is being inundated with so much money from corporations and wealthy donors that his team expects to raise about $500 million by the summer of 2025, even though he legally, constitutionally, cannot run again in 2028. But what I think this means for the GOP is that the best way to move forward is not to focus on allowing Trump to run again. The American people didn't elect him to change the Constitution to allow him to run indefinitely. They elected him in the GOP Congress to fight inflation, help lower prices, and to return America to the golden age that he campaigned on. And if they choose to ignore this advice, the 2026 midterms are just around the corner, and it's going to be a rough cycle for the Republicans with currently a 5-seat majority in the House of Representatives. But all in all, there are much better candidates that are younger and more energetic that will be able to scare Democrats at the idea of a younger MAGA-type president. Let's not focus on putting Trump on Mount Rushmore yet or letting him run for a third term. Let's just follow through on the promises that he made the last 3 or 4 years and see where we're at then. I appreciate you taking your time to watch this. Hit that subscribe button down below if you'd like to get more from our channel, and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.